Hey guys, welcome back. I'm top music attorney, Miss Crystal, and this is your music business podcast where I teach you all about the music business staying legally protected. And we also cover things like the entertainment industry, news, updates, reports. We're doing this all live because I just love you guys. And I'm so excited that you can be here with me on the live every week. So I know we are streaming on multiple platforms. I just had a whole thing with LinkedIn because LinkedIn's doing a thing where they just don't want you using business names. And so they're making everyone update their LinkedIn profiles to have your actual legal name. And, I had this whole back and forth with LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, except I don't go by my legal name, right? I go by my artist name. I have a profile for Miss Crystal. I have a profile for top music attorney, right? These are my business names. And LinkedIn's like, nope, sorry, you need to start, a whole new page if you want to have kind of the business name. And so I'm like, wow, just like years of building a following based on a certain brand or company. So I don't know. In order to connect it, in order to go live, I had to change it to my legal name. Not the end of the world, but I know it's causing a little confusion. I'm not too happy about it. So that's my little gripe for the moment. Hello in the chat. So for those of you on LinkedIn, hello, Facebook, YouTube, don't forget to come and join us on the actual YouTube channel, Top Music Attorney. This is our home hub and where we want everyone subscribed. We do polls. Now we're doing polls like every day. So it's been kind of cool to get your guys' thoughts. We just do random polls to get to know the community. Hello to Miami. Hey, I had a client flying there today. Beautiful, I'm sure. How's the weather? Where are you guys checking in from? What time is it? Where are you at? And how you doing? It's Friday, and I was just kind of thinking about all the stuff that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Other than, of course, the news stories, we have so much to talk about with Kanye West, formerly known as Kanye West. Yay. And there's like a lot going on, and we're going to talk about it all tonight. We also have things happening in regards to a hacker who got caught, right? So this hacker's going and he's getting music from Kanye, Frank Goshen. I mean, he's getting all the good stuff. He's selling it. I think he made like $150,000 and then he got caught. So we're going to talk about what happened. And then, of course, we have a big update for those of you in the rock world and elsewhere. Motley Crüe officially named John 5 as a replacement in their band for the upcoming tour. So anyway, there's a lot going on we're going to talk about in the news. But as far as just other stuff happening, I'm like, wow, this week has been absolute insanity. My office, for example, you guys know I'm a real lawyer, and so I'm doing the lawyer things, Monday through Friday. And we're going to talk about it tonight. But as far as just the craziness of kind of just what happens with my law firm, I mean, we have like calls happening for stuff related to like Super Bowl 2023, which is just insanity. And if we end up doing some of this stuff, it'll be fun, but kind of it'll be crazy for sure. So a lot of fun things happening, and I thought I would also share one other thing. We're gonna run the intro, and then I want to talk about my new watch. So I have a watch. I feel like I'm 16 again. Okay. Because I have like the skinniest wrists on the planet. So it's hard to find anything. But it works nicely. It fits. It's comfortable. I'm digging it. But I'm using it for a specific purpose. And I want you guys to listen to some of the metrics that I have now. So in any case, real quick, let's go back to the chat. Hey, to UK. And I think our hacker friend that we're going to be talking about, I think he was in the UK as well, or at least from the UK. You little troublemakers, you. Australia, Indiana. Hey, thank you very much. Glad you guys can be here. And I'll also talk about, I did this presentation this week. I keep doing these presentations. I need to stop saying yes because they're like back to back to back to back. They're like in the middle of my workday, but I do these presentations talking to like law students and it's so fun and I love doing it. But in any case, I had another one and it was interesting. I want to talk about it with you guys. So in any case, let me find, I don't even know what I'm doing. It's the end of the day. My brain is giving up. I'm finding the intro. We're going to run that. I'm going to be back. We're going to be talking about stuff. So hang tight. I'll be right back. Hi guys, I'm top music attorney Miss Crystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for artists and record labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected.
Let's go.
All right, Idaho. What's up, David Law? I like that. Does that mean you're a lawyer? Are you in my lawyer family? Cuba. On Facebook, we have a question. Wait, again, brain malfunctioning. When we will be talking about the artists getting banned posting their own music on social networks. Let's talk about it on the show. It's a thing that I've even run into. Okay. Very nice. Yeah, so as you guys continue to file in, let us know where you're checking in from. 4 a.m. Oh my goodness. MVP. Awesome. All right, so let me give you the quick skinny on the watch. Okay, so I, at different periods throughout the day, have different things that I experience. And I'm like, obviously it's pretty intense what I go through just being an attorney. It's pretty high intensity and stress. And I just go, as far as a stress reaction, I'm curious, what my body's doing throughout the day because I'm not paying attention to that stuff, right? I might be like, I'm going to have my mindfulness moment and mindfulness moment. We're going to take 2 minutes to take deep breaths at the desk. This is all really good stuff. But, out of a 15-hour a day, 2 minutes comparatively might not offset the stress. So I'm like, let me monitor it. And then in addition to that, I really wanted to monitor my sleep, right? So how many of us are actually sleeping, 7, 8, 9 hours, you know what I'm saying? Who's taking care of themselves, who can even get through the night. So anyway, I got the watch, okay? So that Orko, who will be on the show a little bit later, he also has a watch and it inspired me because he has this for his steps and stress and sleep and all that. And the watch that he got was from Amazon. It was like $30 and it was pretty cool. So this guy was a little more expensive. I think this one was like $90. But it looked like the only one that would fit my wrist. So I got it. So in any case, I've been using it now for maybe 5 days, and it's been pretty interesting. Because I'm just noticing, obviously, where I'm like literally to the minute, where my stress is just going through the roof, and then it drops down, and then I'm at peace, and I'm okay. And then also monitoring sleep. So it's been pretty cool. I don't think that a lot of us pay attention to what's actually happening. So that's what I'm doing. I'll have updates, I'm sure, but that's what's going on in that realm. Bree Johnson on YouTube. There's also on YouTube, do you use a smart watch? That's our poll question. So make sure you answer that and we can know. You enjoyed the presentation at the paralegal conference last week. All right. So actually, that was the thing. Thank you for the reminders. I already forgot I was going to talk about that. I noticed your tiny baby wrists. Thank you, Bree. We are tiny baby wrist sisters. Yeah, so last week we did the paralegal conference and it was so fun, and it was a nice challenge for me to think of a presentation to talk to paralegals about breaking into the entertainment industry, best practices. So that was cool. And then the one that I did a few days ago was I was talking to a law school, and we had a pretty big group of students. So the panel was me and two other kind of like lawyer social media influencers. And to their credit, I knew both of the guys that were on the panel with me because I've seen their stuff previously. And it was pretty cool because we were just talking about like the logistics of putting out content. How do you run a law firm? Problems. And I was trying to get it so we could record and actually be able to show you guys. They said no can do, which I was not happy about. But in any case, it was good. A lot of fun. I got another request today to fly to, I think it was Carolina, and they're doing like a women's kind of lawyerly conference thing. And they're like, yeah, come out, we can't pay you. Like we can't, cover the travel or anything, but come out, it'll be great. I'm like, I'd love to. I still know that I can. In any case, all right, so we're going to get into a lot of things. I think we have a music video we're going to watch. That Orko remind me of what we are watching. Steven, sleep? What's that? All right, so here's the skinny. My best night so far was like, I think Saturday night. It was Friday night or Saturday night. I went into a coma. I had like a 10-hour sleeping coma, and I'm finding that overall, I'm sleeping pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting like 3 hours of REM, 5 hours of deep sleep, not waking up too much. And then I have some kind of crappy nights as well. But, understanding that the backbone of a wonderful day is a great night's sleep. I'm just really trying to prioritize it. That Orko says we're going to be watching Dangerous Daughters, the piano version. Thank you very much. Chris on YouTube had to go through a sleep study to check my O2 levels and heart rate for sleep apnea. Okay, and I was watching, do you guys know, what's his name? Mr. Coy? Is it Joe Coy? The comedian. So he has a special on Netflix. Yeah, Joe Coy. He has and he focuses on this about the fact that he has sleep apnea, and then he like points someone out in the crowd and talks about just like how terrible it is. And he's like, people who have sleep apnea have a tendency to not get, I guess, the big contraption that you're supposed to wear at night because it's like so embarrassing. But he's like, you're literally preventing yourself from dying. So look, Chris, if you got it, please do whatever you got to do to not die. Thank you very much. All right, let's play a little video, and then we'll be back. I'm gonna bring that Orko in. We'll be talking about all the newsy things, and then I have an awesome series of tips for you guys that are interested in learning about the music business and building your own music businesses. So let's see, Bree. I've been a paralegal for 16 years. Sometimes get high heart rate notifications. Yeah. And even then, my whole thought process is like when I kind of look at my day now, because you have an app on your phone and it shows you like all the moments you spiked, to the minute. And I'm like, I was so stressed from like there to there over this client matter, or I was fighting with some douchey attorney or something. And I just look at it, I'm like, it really wasn't that serious. And so it reinforces my commitment to have these kind of techniques to just kind of take a step back, calm down. It's like nothing is really that serious. So that's where it's being helpful for me. This is the poll so far on YouTube. Top music attorney, do you use a smartwatch? 66% of you said no, and 33% of you said yes. Well, I'm in the minority. I just started doing this for the first time, and I'm becoming addicted to it. I really like it. I get 5 hours of sleep at night. Thomas, we got to work on that. I get concerned when you're not sleeping at least 8 hours. They're like, your brain starts to malfunction when you have anything less than 8 hours. That's not good. So let's do something about that. All right. And then we will get back to the question in regards to social media and shutting down music when we come back. So that Orko, go ahead and run the video, and we will be right back.
I woke up from your rage, smack that beautiful medicine. Blood spills from my face, love my beautiful punishment. You know just how much I can take, so don't worry about it. Your love is driving through the pain. A lesson learned in faith. Trust when I don't know what I'm doing. I stepped out from my cage and I don't know where I'm going. I never feel like I am safe. I don't think about it. I never feel like you are safe. Have faith about it. Little girls grow up as dangerous daughters. Don't blame me, just blame my father. Little girls grow up as dangerous daughters. Don't blame me, just blame my father. You let me down when I need love. You let me down. You let me down when I need love. You let me down. Lighting my life, lighting my life, lighting my life, lighting my life. Lighting my life, lighting my life, lighting my life, lighting my life.
Hey, Alekin, thank you for being here. All right, so I asked the question, what are y'all up to this weekend in the chat as the video was going? I saw Steven taking some promo pictures in Mexico, doing some more online classes with you. So Steven is one of my dearly beloved students going through my How to Build a Record Label course. And we definitely keep it real close. We have a student community. Steven, thank you for being here. And by the way, the music business tip I'm going to be covering are all kind of related to what you're doing. So it's a little add-on. So make sure you stick around for that. Bree is going to the farmers market, making a Halloween board and enjoying a well-needed 3-day weekend. What's a 3-day weekend? What is going on? What's going on? Is it Halloween already? Guys, I'm struggling hard, real hard, but we're having fun. John is here carving a pumpkin. Oh, should I have done like a costume? Is it going to be too late for that? Oh, I so messed up. Maybe we'll do it next week. Do you think I should do the show next week in some kind of costume? I've done a couple. I don't know if you guys follow me on both of my platforms. I have Top Music Attorney, okay, all the lawyer stuff, and you see some of my costume stuff there. But most of it is posted on my Miss Crystal platforms. So obviously go follow on Miss Crystal everywhere. But in any case, I was like, well, maybe I could be, because I've done Poison Ivy. And then I did a hybrid recently of Pennywise and Harley Quinn. So it was kind of my own interpretation. And this was for the promotion of one of my songs that is coming out in a couple weeks. And so it was like a pre-save thing. But in any case, I don't know. Should I be like blonde Harley Quinn for one of our live streams? Or not one of them, the next one? All right, you are working this weekend. Yep, me too. Although for my kind of going extra hard, I've been a little faded. I've been a little struggly. And I'm going a little hard. So I like to get vitamin IVs. So I think I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Oh, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Hey, you guys are very nice. Well, for those of you who do like the music, if you want to pre-save, if you haven't yet, make sure you go and pre-save on, well, I guess it's on all my platforms, but the easiest way to find it could just go to Miss Crystal on Instagram, and then the link's in my bio. And so you can pre-save the upcoming song, which is Secret. Okay? Shh, secret. All right, what do you guys think? Should we bring in that Orko? Should we get into all of the insanity? I think I will, because I also have a little announcement. So let me bring him in right now.
Hey, shout out to the community. You know me, I always appreciate you guys being here. If you are watching across one of the other platforms that we are broadcasting to, make sure that you join us over on Top Music Attorney. That's where I'm trying to do the polls in the chat so you can participate in the actual polls. And this is actually the main source where he really wants you to, when you're watching the show, watch it from. But, you know, if you're comfortable on Facebook, stay on Facebook. But, you know, we do like you over here on YouTube.
We just
But
love you
happy
guys
Friday.
everywhere, though. Yes. All right. So it's interesting you say this. So my assistant, my legal assistant, oops, sorry, I'm trying to click it. My legal assistant is always telling me for us because the time changes, right? Daylight savings or whatever. So for us, I think it's like the November 4th or 6th. And he keeps reminding me, which is very helpful because I'll have like meetings. He's like, hey, just so you know, the time is going to be changing. So what do you mean? What's the clocks for you this weekend? Tell me what time zone are you in? Matt is at campgrounds. All
Oh,
right. Hey, see, that's kind of peace and healing. But I wanted to say, guys, I forgot to say this at the beginning of the show, but today we officially hit 18,000 followers on Top Music Attorney YouTube. Yay!
shout out to the community. Let's go.
Yes, very much. All right, and then we have Thomas. He's doing a sing-along on Monday night, and that is Halloween. Okay, thank you. That's helpful. Okay. So I don't know. It's like everyone taking the day off on Halloween. I don't know. I work. Like it's still
I
like
don't
you.
know. I mean, we literally work, you know, every day of the year, pretty much for the most part, at least doing something. I mean, it does no holiday. I don't think is ever. I don't get days off.
Yeah.
I mean, but we're you know we're trying to run businesses and stuff, and when you are trying to be kind of like when you have that entrepreneurial spirit, or if you're a musician and an artist and you have things that you need to do, like you know, I'm always going. So
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I should address this with staff. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But anyway, we have newsy things to talk about. A lot happening. The big one tonight is going to be obviously talking about Kanye West. There's a lot, so we're going to do
a
that
lot.
probably last. We have some quick hit ones that we're going to go through first. Are you ready? I was thinking
Yeah,
let's go through. Okay.
wherever you want to go.
Motley Crüe officially names John 5 as Mick Mars' replacement in their touring lineup. He says, I'm honored to carry on Mick's legacy and looking forward to playing these songs. So, you know, I guess Mick has been struggling with some health issues. And so John 5, he was rumored to kind of be doing this, but now the official announcement has come out. And of course, as most of us know, John 5, the guitarist for not only Rob Zombie, but other, you know, big rock artists. And so, you know, for me, it was kind of a no-brainer. But in any case, pretty exciting. What are your
Yes.
thoughts?
Oh, I'm super stoked. I'm a huge John 5 fan. Let's go ahead and put that right out there. I actually got first introduced to John 5 when he played with Rob Halford from Judas Priest. They had a group called Two that was produced by Trent Reznor. So that's how I kind of got into even, you know, becoming aware. But then, yeah, I mean, of course, he played, you know, with like Lita Ford. He's done stuff with David Lee Roth and, of course, Marilyn Manson, which is, you know, where I think that, but, you know, Rob Zombie, he really shines. But in Marilyn Manson, like he made that band so amazing just by coming in. He elevates projects so much because his whole life is playing the guitar. I've actually, you know, been a part of interviews with him and stuff back in the day. When he first joined up with Rob Zombie, and he's just a great guy, but his whole life is playing guitar. Like, I think he sleeps with his guitar. Like
I'm telling you, on
he
social
loves
media,
guitar.
he loves it. Everything he does is with that guitar. It's like that, or I think I don't know if he's with his lady love. That was the other person I always saw him talking about. But John says, "Congrats," but he doesn't think it's a good fit. Interesting.
I'm telling you, that guy could play with anybody. Like, he is really one of the best guitarists like out right now. And like, he's so effortless when he plays. And I love it because like he has this move where he just like shakes his head back and forth when he plays, and it's like, oh, he just looks so awesome. Like I'm such a huge, but you know, awesome opportunity for him. Motley Crüe, a huge honor to play with such a legendary band. Of course, you know, Kickstart My Heart, Girls, 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 Dr. Field, you know, all the hits, but they are, you know, I've seen Motley Crüe probably like 3 times in my life, and it's always a great show. You know, Tommy Lee, Mick Mars has always been going through these health problems. This is something that he's been dealing with, you know, his whole career. And from what I'm understanding, he's still a part of the band. He's just not doing the live touring. So John 5, and I think John 5 is, you know, he's still, hanging out with Rob Zombie and doing all that stuff. So this is just like for the tour, but like he couldn't pass that up. I mean, how are you going to pass up going on tour with Motley Crue? And it's cool that we're seeing, these guitarists, kind of a different thing, but just these from other bands, just kind of going to these huger projects and getting on these huge tours, and it's great.
Awesome. All right, so let's move on. Now, I was thinking again, we're gonna be getting into all things Kanye, but and there's a lot there, you guys. But I was thinking, let's jump into another one. And you know what? Before we get there, I remember there was a question earlier in the chat. I don't want to forget about you. So someone was asking, as far as social media kind of shutting down different profiles or taking music off that actually belongs to artists themselves. And this happened to me. I remember the last time, and I was just very upset. But this was in the middle of COVID, right? 2020. And I dropped my Dangerous Daughters album, and because we couldn't do a live EP, or I'm sorry, album release, we did a live stream, and I ended up having my live stream shut down for copyright infringement. And obviously it was my music, but they don't know that everything's so automated. So I guess first and foremost, I feel your pain. And that's a problem, as they're trying to fix the problem of copyright infringement and people stealing music. What's happening is that obviously there are innocent bystanders, right? The people who actually own the music who are getting hit by this. And so it's a little frustrating, but they're continuing to kind of tweak the system on different platforms. And so, at a minimum, we're trying to actually monetize now. Yeah. So obviously in most cases, you can usually appeal, and then you can say I actually own the music and that kind of thing, but it's pretty frustrating.
It's a process, yeah, and then you're just kind of at the mercy of when they get to it and let you know. But the cool thing is, if you do go through the appeal process, like doesn't all like the revenue just go right into escrow? So it's just when you just have to kind of wait for the decision.
It depends on the platform. The cool thing is like with YouTube, YouTube is even getting to a place where even if you have copyrighted content that belongs to someone else, that they're trying to work out licenses with like the labels and the publishers. And so you're not going to get dinged, you're not going to get blocked, you're not even going to get strikes. They're not there yet. But and that's pretty cool, and I like that they're doing that.
Yeah, no, it's kind of long overdue, and I think that everybody kind of, I think, has the same feeling that, the content creators and the artists, everybody should be getting paid. Let's just go ahead and figure out a way to just make that just an easy process, because this is the culture of what it is now, especially, with things like TikTok, and you're making these videos and you're using sounds and other people's music. Let's just figure out a way that we can make it where, the artists are getting paid, and, and then the content creators are getting paid. And so everyone's making money.
Yeah. Yeah, look,
there's so much money coming in from advertisers, and from there's plenty of money to go around, and we'll talk about that probably a little more when we're also talking about the Kanye story as well, and just how businesses control the money as it's distributed.
So Steven says, I released my album, I saw people trying to sell it on eBay. In one respect, because that happened to me too, right? In one respect, you can just be like, flattered that people are trying to steal your stuff and monetize it. It's annoying. But sometimes you got to decide, how far you want to go with trying to do the takedowns and things like that. If they're pretending to be you, if they're distorting your music, obviously always take action, protect your music. But, it seems like it just kind of happens as a
does he mean trying to sell like physical copies of his album on eBay? Because I'll tell you what, that was something, when I used to work at an independent record store, and we were new and used, CDs and stuff back in the day. And that was kind of like, whenever there's a new form of getting music, because it's a different level, because now they treated things as like a pawn kind of license when you're dealing with like used music. So I actually don't even know, like on the resale. So when we would buy your used CDs and then, we'd sell them for a cheaper price, like they don't get credit for those used CDs. It's just like a piece of like product. So, there was that kind of already happens anyway. If somebody trades your CD in a record store, sells it, or a bookstore.
All right. With that, okay, got it. Yeah. So in any case, with that being said, let's move on. A hacker is going to jail after making $148,000 off releasing music from Frank Ocean, Kanye West, and more. All right. So 23-year-old, kind of entrepreneur, Not that that's what anyone is saying, but it's tough when you have these people who come up with some kind of system for making money. They're doing it illegally. Unfortunately, this is the outcome when you do illegal stuff. But for me, that's always my thought. If someone's trying to like scam you or they do scam you, right? I'm like, there's an entrepreneurial kind of spirit there. And it's just so unfortunate that they take this path. But in any case, I digress. So he has been sentenced to 18 months in jail after stealing unreleased material. Unreleased, very important, unreleased material from Frank Ocean, Ye, and others.
Yeah, no, and I think what makes a difference is like he actually hacked into people's so he sold a Frank Ocean song for $1,000 after hacking the artist's Tumblr pages. He is admitted to 19 charges, 3 charges of gaining unauthorized access to a computer, 14 copyright offenses, 2 charges of possessing criminal property, 1 offense of converting criminal property. Let me see, what else did I see here that was pretty cool, or not cool, but interesting. Like he was just hacking into people's Dropboxes and stealing, his, from Dropbox, which this guy's, I don't know how he would get passwords. I never understand how you can do it unless they're just so like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Kanye
like, where do you even start? That's the thing. Like, how do you even know like what account you're trying to hack into? Because I mean, and then as far as how he was flipping this, right? There was one, he confessed to selling one Ocean song for $1,000 after hacking the Tumblr page. And I think you might have said that, but
yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna flip something and only sell it for like $1,000, I mean, that's
When they
I don't know.
grabbed his laptop, there was 565 audio files on there. So that's what he was charged from. And then they found him because, his home address was linked to the IP address to one of the hacked devices. So I don't know. It's a lot different. Like, back in the day, again, from my record store days, people, we would buy bootleg stuff every now and again because people would get stuff early or whatever, or you would even have vendors of record labels. So like record labels would come in and they would, put up POP, just like different kinds of posters and stuff, to promote the new artist that's coming out with the working the record. And then sometimes those people would just like sell like to the store, like advanced copies of the CDs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just, on the low. I don't know if I should be saying that. It wasn't my company, so it's fine. I just worked for them. But back in the day, yeah, I mean, this is different because he's actually hacking people's emails. He's hacking into people's Dropbox. I mean, what else are they swimming around in their findings? So, change your passwords, make them harder. Make them harder.
Yeah, or in the case of Lana Del Rey, just don't have
Don't leave
obviously
in your car.
your stuff in your car when you're running in for a quick coffee.
God, I still feel bad for her. I thought about her. We were talking about her a little bit over on our drive going out last night. Very interesting stuff, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
The new hacker.
All right. So, are you ready to get into the big one? Ooh,
Oh my goodness!
This is gonna be
All right,
spicy.
settle in. Get your coffee.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you take lead on the intro for this.
So, I mean, Kanye West is constantly in the headlines these days. We are in this big cancellation of Ye. He has been just being called out for a lot of anti-Semitic things that he's been saying. Of course, his behavior has been, rather erratic throughout his career. I mean, for me, none of this behavior isn't really new, but I mean, when you see kind of the timeline of just the history of the literal anti-Semitic behavior, it is kind of shocking and disturbing. And, I've always said on the show, I'm a huge fan of Kanye West. I try to stay out of all of that stuff as much as I can, but with the show, it's very hard to ignore. And it's very hard to ignore any of the stuff as it's happening.
And particularly now.
And particularly now, it's very tough. And I will say, before we get into all the specifics, I think that my whole big takeaway is that Kanye is just very misguided. He's just very misguided, and I don't know if it's like how he was grown up and he was kind of taught these things, or I think his problem has less to do with like Jewish people, and I think his problem has to do with corporations in general. And I don't know why he is using race and religion as a scapegoat, because I believe that just clouds his cause. And I think at the heart of his cause is artists and creators need to, know their worth, get their value, not settle. And, but his way about going about it is just, it's very heartbreaking. I definitely do not share any of his sentiments, other than, I believe that artists and creatives should, take more control of their stuff, but I do not like the way he's going about it. That being said, so here we go. So let's go through the list of some of the companies that have so far, and things that have cut ties with
Yeah, and
Ye. Do you
let
want
me
to start going through them?
let me hit it. So, we have Adidas, Gap, Foot Locker, Peloton,
Oh my god.
Balenciaga, right? The fashion company, the Wax Museum, and how do you say this?
The Madame
Madame
Tussauds, yeah. The wax museum. They retired his wax figure. He's in the
Vogue,
basement.
TJ Maxx,
Oh,
Donda Sports clients, right? So we've talked about this on
yeah,
the
we
show as
talked
far
about
as
that.
he was signing, clients, artists, athletes, and so they have now left the roster. And we also had announced on our last update that he had retained Camille Vasquez, right, the very now famous attorney who represented Johnny Depp on the Amber Heard trial. That
Yeah.
lasted 2 days.
And we called it, like, that was like, as soon as we did that, I was like, I just can't even imagine. I just can't even imagine that that's a healthy relationship of attorney and client.
Well, and just based on kind of like what I've been seeing, from how he's expressed himself in how his relationship with his attorneys and just being like, well, if they don't do what I want, if they're telling me I'm wrong, I'll just go get a new attorney. So just understanding that that was the kind of client that she was going to be working with and that he's taking these kind of far outside positions. I was just like, it seems like this is a dangerous move for her when she has nothing to do at this point other than to continue winning.
Right.
So in
Right.
any case,
Right.
obviously she's now distancing herself from
Good
him.
point.
And we have other law firms that are also bailing.
And it's pretty interesting too, like, because he's been trying to get out of some of his, some of these contracts, and that's a criticism that I've also, or not criticism, but a comment that I've seen, because when you go to, Kanye's social media, you'll see that I wouldn't even say it's very even split. Now, that could just be reflective to the fact that it's his social media, so it's his fan base that pays attention to his social media. But I would say that it's mostly support coming for Kanye West, which I find kind of odd. Um,
Yeah,
but
so let's talk about the dichotomy just for a sec, right? So we just went through the corporate America at large is
mm,
canceling him, dropping him, but then we go to social media, right? Because you usually have both sides, right? You have the haters, you have the people who support a particular person. We just want to see what people are saying, and by and far, his fans are supporting him and saying, well, could this be, conspiracy theory? Is Kanye just doing this and being
right.
extra wild because he wants to get out of
Wants
all
to
these
get out of these
contracts?
contracts, and that's interesting, because he's been trying to get out of some of these deals, and so he can explore other things. I mean, he didn't like the way that he's been very vocal about how whenever he works with a company, he's very vocal about the things that he doesn't like, and he
Yeah.
will walk away from deals will get canceled. Some of these companies will cater to what he wants, some of them
And
won't.
yeah, a lot of companies, I mean, in including, I would even say Adidas, right? Just like, despite the fact that he will come and say, you are only you because of me and you're stealing my ideas, right? So even stuff that maybe they think is just blatantly false and they still stick by him because maybe it's just, he's that
I-
profitable.
he's
But
that
obviously
profitable.
we've now turned a new corner on this. And as far as all right, so now how is this hurting Kanye, right? So other than public opinion, he's losing deals. Well, when it comes to the richest hip hop artist list,
Yeah.
he has now dropped to he's on the
Number
list still,
3.
but he's
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 yeah.
number 3. Which I don't know
Yeah.
if that's how much he's hurting, but I mean he's got a divorce thing going on with
But
Kim,
he's
so
but they say that, with all these loss of the deals, especially the Adidas deal, I mean, he's lost about 1.5 million. So that's a hit. He still's got 500 million, so he's fine. And seeing how like, there's been many things that Kanye has said to get him. I don't want to use the word cancel anymore, because I really don't like the word cancel, because it's not even what's happening. It's holding accountable. And it's businesses and people, you know what I mean? It's business is business, and people just being held accountable. It's not cancellation. It's like you could choose to put up with it or not. Um, but I think that, what we're seeing here is just he knows how to stay in the spotlight, for better or for worse. He's famous, he's infamous, but this has been his approach throughout the career. And one of my thoughts was the fact that he knows how to do this, the fact that he says just crazy things like, George Bush doesn't care about black people, being, controversial because he'll make headlines with that. Or, slavery is a choice, which is just like, I mean, I can't even, just like, it's very hard, but he knows how to stay in the spotlight. He knows, like, even his social media, right? So he'll post something up and he will call people out, or he'll post something good. He'll whatever. But I mean, if you go back to his stuff, like a half hour later, it'll be gone. He knows how to, because he keeps that, like, you got to catch it.
I
It's
don't get
very
this
urgent.
I don't get this sense though that he's doing it like a, marketing strategy kind of ploy. I think he just keeps changing his mind. I think that's just we're seeing in real time as he's kind of going through these different thoughts and sharing and taking it back and maybe rethinking something.
Could be
But,
manic episode.
as far as kind of seeing a continuity in his behavior, right? We've seen even recently he got kicked out of Skechers.
Yeah, he tried
Right?
to pop in there. He was like,
he
cool. After he walked right in, he walked right out.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen him do that, obviously, and even his documentary, we're seeing that he's going into record labels, "You gotta listen to my mixtape," and just being Kanye
Extreme.
West. So he
Right.
does it again, but now obviously, times have changed and there's a different, feeling in general about him, and people are not at least again, I go back to in corporate America, right? Now there's offense, there's this feeling of wanting to cancel him, but I just go back to is this really going to affect him long term? Because, his fans seem to be continuing to support him.
Well, I mean, there definitely is a drop off, but it's just not as much as you would think. And I mean, he's survived many controversies. So for if he's going to survive this, it's not going to surprise me. I don't like the way that he's going about it. I don't agree with the anti-Semitism at all. Like, I just don't think any of that stuff is necessary. Your problems are with, corporate America and the business model of people at the top make the most money and they pay the creatives and the artists as little as they can get away with, because that's why there's negotiations, because they don't want to pay what they need to pay. And that's something, that we teach on this channel as far as how to stay independent. So you're in control of your music. So you don't need, some of these corporations, taking advantage of you and stuff like that. So
So
I don't know.
just an average man on YouTube goes, "What are the chances of him not having his IP protected from Adidas and they rip off his designs for profit?" I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that with the inventory that they have left over, they are just simply
Right.
removing his
They're removing his
trademark.
branding. Yeah.
Yeah, they're removing the branding and just gonna sell the shoe. So I think as far as with the IP, right? So meaning, the actual design of the shoe, that would lead me to believe that under the contract, they own it. They don't own his trademarks, they don't know his
Right.
name, right? They can't use that to sell the shoes, but they're just gonna get rid of them. Which by the way, I don't know. Do you think fans will just, boycott it and be like, we're not gonna buy
I
this,
think
or
what you're
will
going
they
to
buy
find,
it?
I think during this period, there's a couple different things going on. There's people that are boycotting, and then there's people that are buying up everything because they're going to become some kind of a collector's item in one way or another. I mean, the Yeezy brand it's already hard to get, and it's already super expensive. You know what I mean? The way that the drops are done. So yeah, I mean, we've even covered like the Walmart does knockoffs, and stuff like that. I think he's just going to kind of move on and create new shit. And I think he's just going to find things to partner with, and it'll die down a little bit, some of the controversy, and I think he's going to keep going. I do. I really want someone to sit him down and kind of get through to him. It's really hard. It's really hard. I got to tell you, like this has been really hard for me. I keep saying the word, but it is. As we get older, so many of our heroes, and I don't want to blame social media, but like we have way too much access to people. And, just so all of our heroes are kind of falling. You know what I mean? Like eh, they live long enough to become villains in one way or another, or, and it's very hard with music, because music is so personal. Music is so connecting. Like you hear a song and it can literally take you back to like a moment 15 years ago, 30 years ago. When
Yeah.
people are in comas, they play music to help them, soothe them. And and just it's very hard to see so many of my heroes that are just becoming really disappointing.
Well, that
And it's
actually
tough.
brings up a question in regards to the actual music, right? So we saw that, the
Yeah.
Kanye West Essentials playlist disappeared from Apple
From
Music.
Apple.
And then, when asked basically for a comment, the CEO of Spotify said, I kind of find the comments like something to the equivalent of disgusting. But, he hasn't done anything to violate our Spotify terms of
Right.
use or anti bullying or any of these other things. And so we're not going to do anything as far as removing his music. That would be up to his label, Universal. Do I think Universal is going to remove his music right now when he has 50 million plays on Spotify alone? No, I think that they
I think
benefit from the controversy.
now if he has just starts just coming out with just an album full of anti-Semitic rhymes and stuff like that, I
Sure,
mean,
sure.
then I think you're gonna find something. But it's just tough, man. It's tough. It's hard, man. Just watching these people just kind of sabotage themselves, sabotage their careers. And honestly, I don't want to know all the shit that I know about a lot of these artists. Honestly, for a lot of this reason, even artists that I'm a huge fan of, a lot of them I have unfollowed on social media just because they say stupid stuff, or just like I don't like I'm just I thought you'd like you I like the mystery. I just like the mystery of some of my favorite artists, but I'm old school. I know it's a different time. I know it's a different
Well,
era,
it's
but
interesting. I remember I had this kind of revelation about Oprah of all people, but when I was younger, I remember, we were watching something. I was like with my mom. She loved Oprah, and we've been watching for years, big fans, all the stuff. And Oprah said something that just wasn't in line with my mom's beliefs, and she was like, "Oh, I can't support that Oprah anymore because of that one thing." And I was like, "That doesn't make sense to me. Why are you all a fan and supporting?" And then someone says something like just one thing that doesn't line up with your opinions, and now they're outcast. And I feel like that's something pretty consistent that a lot of us tend to do because it offends us in such a way. And I don't know, for no other point than as far as like, understanding our personal biases. Kanye's a pretty extreme example, okay? But
yeah, but
it's tough.
it's again, I just think that I see a comment in there like, how would you go about sitting someone down in the situation from a business or personal focus or both? Um, I think it's both, but if this is what he is intentionally trying to do, like, because you see a lot of speculation that he is doing these things to try to get him out of these contracts. And,
Right.
again, that's just comments that you're seeing and people just kind of having their takes on it or whatever like that. So maybe he doesn't need to be talked to because this is his big master plan, which if he's doing this intentionally, that makes it so much worse. Like I kind of the way that I can kind of negotiate it in my head is I know that he's got to he's going through emotional problems. I have a hard time like again labeling people with mental health issues or whatever. But again, he always has something
Yeah,
kind
but
of going
but
on.
devil's advocate, he's posting, he's on planes, he's doing nonprofit
He's oh
stuff.
yeah, he's
He seems like he's totally fine. I don't think
Donda
he's struggling at
school,
all.
His Donda Academy closed and open within like 4 hours. But
Yeah.
I saw this will thing be the kind of thing that I'll close on. I watched Michael Rappaport, who's like an actor and he's also big in the hip hop community, a guy I've just like follow for years. He had an interesting take on Kanye West as well. He's just kind of like, dude, like you should have just said the people's names. Like who hurt you? Say the names,
Right,
say the
right.
corporations. Like that's who you have the problem with. And I gotta agree like wholeheartedly. His problem is with just corporation. It's not with a race of people or a religion or it's corporations and it's how businesses work. So, but I still just believe in, let's fight for our rights to party, but let's you don't have to take the fight there, bro. Like, come on.
All right. Well, with that being said, guys, I got a fantastic music business tip for you, but we're gonna kick that Orko out. Thank you for joining us, Mr. That
Thank you guys
Orko.
so much. We will continue to follow these stories as they come. It's really hard not to pay attention to this stuff and and watch this train wreck happen in front of you.
Yeah, there's
But
so much every day.
there's so like it's honestly and we didn't even get to so much because like literally the entire show could have been about this. So um but yeah, so yeah, but thank you guys for being here. Shout out to the community. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Like she just said, we just hit 18,000, trying to get to 20. So make sure that you are subscribed. You hit the top bell. I think it's a top bell still. I got a notification that they're changing it to like a subscribe button because all the stuff is formatted. So please hit that button, and thank you guys, and I am out.
Hey. All right, guys. So, what I'm going to do, as always, as I'm going through this, make sure you are dropping questions, comments, concerns, all of the above. We got a lot of great tips that I'm about to lay on you. I'm going to find that. And then we will have one more video that we'll watch together because you know how we do it. We always got to lay the videos on you. But I was saying earlier in the show for the pre-save link for Secret, please make sure you go and check that out. We'll link it down at the end of the show. But if you're watching live, you can go and find that on Miss Crystle on Instagram. It is linked in my bio. My students in my course have been learning all about how to build their record labels, how to become their own music businesses. It's been so cool because we have such a diversity of students, from artists to even attorneys, and people kind of just trying to get an understanding of the music business, how to be successful. And the big question that is always on record label owners' minds is, how do we make money? Okay. The important stuff, of course, how do we stay legally protected? Let's get those contracts, right? All the kind of groundwork stuff. But when it comes to now, we're set up, we're executing. How do we make money? So I'm going to give you guys some of my best tips when it comes to making money, starting to execute right away, and we're going to jump into it. So make sure, of course, like this video no matter where you are watching right now. That helps to tell the algorithm to push us out. I definitely appreciate it. And then if you know someone, obviously word of mouth is the strongest way to just get the word out, and I appreciate you guys just sharing the knowledge, and so we can build our community together. All right, one sec. My computer's telling me it's like deleting everything. All right, we're going to stop that. Cool. All right, so first up, when it comes to how to make money in a very meaningful and a very fast kind of way as a music business, I'm always going to start with label services. Okay, so I always ask students, what are the skill sets that you already know how to do? What does that include? Give me a list. Okay, so just like write down everything that you can do. And often I find that, music enthusiasts, music entrepreneurs know how to do a lot of stuff, from music marketing, right, to building websites, to designing, simple stuff in Photoshop, maybe even video editing, maybe music production, maybe they know how to take photos, right, and do photo shoots. And so what I do as kind of homework, as a, first step, let's write down everything that you know how to do. And then once we have that list, we're going to now assign values to it, right? So if I was to hire you to, for example, make me a music video, how much time is it going to cost you? How fast can you get it done? And how much volume can you do? So when it comes to kind of structuring the label services, step one is to kind of think through and say, all right, is this something that I'm going to offer as a music business, right? Because you don't have to, right? There are some music companies that go, I'm only going to service the clients that actually, or the artists that I sign to my roster. So whether that is 5 people or 50 people, it's only going to be the people who actually sign contracts with my company. But what I do find is that the companies who end up still having the roster people over here, the roster artists, and then over in this area, it's people that they don't sign, okay, but they'll do label services for. Either way, it's cool, but I think that if you have a skill set and you're trying to build and you're trying to make money, it's kind of, easy money. Don't leave it on the table. So for example, as we're kind of laying these things out, what does an artist need? And take it from the beginning to the, let's say, distribution of a song. So from the very beginning, we need someone who can help to make the song, Okay, so we need a producer, we need a songwriter. And sometimes artists don't know how to do any of that stuff. Sometimes you have artists who can help with the songwriting, right? So that was kind of me. When I was kind of first starting out, I knew how to write songs, I knew how to write lyrics, but I didn't know how to produce it, right? And so I started to teach myself how to do that, but then I started to collaborate with other producers, right? So there's things that you can do. But as you go, all right, so we have the song, we got to produce it, we got to record it, we got to get it done, and then we got to mix it. Okay, so there's people who all they do are mixing services. Well, we got to master it now. I know a guy who does as a main job, he does mastering services. Okay, so right there with just the music production from the record, or I would say the writing of the music to recording the music to mixing the music to, finalizing and mastering, just that piece right there, those were services that you could charge for at every stage. And guess what? As a music business owner, as a record label owner, you don't need to know how to do all this stuff and be the actual person doing it. You just need to get someone then who is working under your label. And oftentimes I find that people already have, in their teams, a music producer, might be a partner, but you can find someone even virtually. You can find someone who might be like in another state or another country. But if they're in line with like the genre that you want to do and you try some, different projects together, perfect. So now you have kind of the production side handled. After production, now we need to go into two things. It's usually marketing and the visuals. Okay. So having a basic understanding of marketing is really important. This is something that I hammer home with all of my students. This is going to be sometimes the most important stuff that we learn when it comes to this cycle. How do we actually promote it? And that's a big question that artists have. So if we can offer those services of being like, we can do some basic promotion before the song comes out, while, the day it's released and some time afterwards, that is a huge benefit to artists and they will pay you to do that. Okay. And to just give them that help. So then after we have that, obviously music videos, we want photo shoots, we want stuff for social media and the press releases. So these are all things that are very actually simple to learn. Even music video production, you can learn it yourself. Me and my team, that's definitely something that we did in the beginning. But obviously, at some point, you can go and hire a director of photography, I should say. And you can get that assistant. So in the label services, think of all the things that you can do, including for you legal people, right? Paralegals, legal assistants, lawyers. In that process, there are things that you can do as well. If you are now in the legal side of things, but you are now running an entertainment company. So when it comes to, some of the best ways to actually make money as a music business, as a record label services are going to do really well for you and your company. All right, so moving on. When it comes to, having these solid, proven ways to make money as a record label, I'm a real record label owner myself, not just an entertainment attorney. Touring is a big one. For independent artists and including artists who are signed to labels, who are with my various, courses and classes, these artists are kind of killing it, right? On the low end, we can have people who don't have a big fan following getting club gigs for like $5,000 because maybe they're helping to do some cover songs, right? Top 50 kind of stuff, or they're in a certain genre, right? But in any case, we could be on the low end getting a couple grand per show. But, I have this one artist signed with one of my students' labels, and, he's making something like $50,000 to $70,000 a month. And, this is someone who is independent. So, I think label owners and music business owners really underestimate the power of touring. Now, obviously, when it comes to touring, we're literally getting the word out about music, right? We are marketing ourselves in real time. There are people who are going to follow, right? And go and buy the music. And so on the back end, we're also making money from the free promotion, right? That it brings, because people will go and stream. They will go buy, but they will go buy stuff in person. And, from personal experience, I do see that a lot of businesses will have a lot of success with the live events and selling the merch because it's an emotional compulsion, right? Anytime we want to go and like buy a shirt and buy a hoodie and buy a hat, we're excited usually about the artist or the band that we're buying it in association with, but it's pretty powerful if you just saw something and you were moved and you felt something and you want to get that merch even more than if you're just kind of browsing a website, right? So I'm finding that a lot of our students who are taking the time to come up with like a plan, not just for the artist to be actually doing shows, but to be having, even a small merch booth set up, and you can pay someone like $10 an hour just to kind of, manage the booth and take orders. But you can move a couple grand just from the merch stand in addition to what your artist is making. So it's awesome for the artist because they're getting paid, awesome for you because you're getting paid. So definitely don't discount the power of not just touring, but even just doing one-off shows and having a couple of those every month. All right, so in the realm of when it comes to we're trying to make money as record labels, and we are looking at methods that are proven to be incredibly successful so that you can be hitting those 5-6 figures, right? Every year. And what I like to focus on is sync licensing. Okay, so sync licensing, we're talking about getting music in TV and film. And, what a lot of people don't know with sync licensing is that, we're talking about some really good licensing fees. This is what it kind of looks like. If you're able to get a song, whether it's an instrumental, whether it's a full song, it's for like 15 seconds, right? I literally have had one of my songs used in a club scene in a reality TV show, and cool, quick $5,000. Sync placements are fantastic because TV, film, games is where a lot of the money is, and they have a budget. Okay. We've also seen licensing when you get a song placed for like a theatrical release, right? We see a commercial, we have maybe like a Windex commercial. I don't know why I just said Windex, but we're getting placements in that range of like $50,000, $100,000. So what some music business owners are doing and record labels is that they are focusing solely on sync licensing. They're focusing on artists and producers who are making the type of music that they want to specifically get in TV and film and games. And they're doing that because they're seeing success, because it takes a little bit of time. This is one of those things where you make a bit of the investment. Okay, I'm always going to teach my students exactly how to do this, but you're going to make that investment into understanding how to do it, to build your process, to know how to actually reach out to these people, make friends, and then you'll be the one that gets the call when there's that placement in Netflix. And I have, for example, one of my students, he makes a cool $200,000 a year just from the sync placements that he gets. And, I would just say this is someone that you would never know, right? Has, a big fan following. Like, this is how people are kind of secretly killing it. And it's because this is so powerful. People don't know about it. They're not doing it, especially as, music business owners and like investing the time into understanding how to do it. And so that's where the big mishaps are happening. Now, on the other end of this, the power of sync licensing is also free marketing. Okay. Can we talk about Kate Bush running up that hill and the fact that that song, right, from the 80s became a worldwide sensation and ended up generating a ton of money for Kate Bush, right? And in fact, she got paid. We looked up the registration. She has the rights. Her publishing company got paid. So it was really, really cool to see that. But that's just the power of placement in a hit TV show on Netflix. And this happens more often than you think because people are not taking advantage of this. So this is one of my top recommendations when it comes to where you should kind of invest some of your time so that you can make some real legit money as a record label, as a music business, and as a music entrepreneur in general. All right, so when it comes to, now let's talk about the digital area, right? So when it comes to streaming, digital downloads, how do we make money as a record label? Let's talk about playlisting and pre-saving. So obviously a lot of us know about playlisting in general. We want to make sure that we get the music that we represent or own on these playlists, whether they are official Spotify playlists or they are user generated playlists. Having the song in that list has a couple of benefits, right? Number one, you're actually getting the streams, especially if it's a popular playlist. You're getting the streams, you're getting paid. It's not a ton, but you're getting paid. Okay. And then in addition to that, exposure. So the more repetition that we are getting with the placements, the plays, and the exposure to then generate more interest, which also helps with the, for example, Spotify algorithm. So, we get on now discovery playlists where Spotify is now just voluntarily pushing the song out to other users who are listening to music, like the particular artist's music. And so this is how we can see songs that had been released a year ago, sometimes several years ago, just explode on Spotify because we were seeing we're seeing basically that activity, but it kind of goes hand in hand, right? So playlisting for music at any time. Okay, it doesn't matter if it has been released already, it's been out for a year. Playlisting is very, very powerful. And what record labels are doing is that they are just creating their own playlists. Okay, so by creating your own playlist that now you have other people submitting to you, maybe even paying you to add their songs onto your playlist, you build now this incredible audience for the songs that you're trying to promote. Okay, so this is a very, very powerful technique that you can utilize to make some more money for the label, for your artists. But I definitely want to mention pre-saves. Never forget pre-saves. This is so important when it comes to the work that you and your artist does prior to the song actually coming out. The more pre-saves that you have, it tells the music platforms the day that the song comes out. These are all the people who added the song. So a pre-save on the day it's released is considered like an ad, right? They're going to listen to it. So this gives the algorithm a big boost. And again, is going to help with, Spotify pushing you out to other potential users and doing that kind of organic push. So when it comes to kind of making some real money, this is something that is often missed by record label owners. So don't let it happen with your business. Pay attention, get into playlisting, and don't forget to push those pre-saves. All right. So when it comes to, we talk about all the different ways that we're making money as record labels, as music business owners. And I have to talk about merchandise. Okay. So merchandise can be one of these things that makes all the difference. And I've even had music business owners who will launch a successful merchandise line before they even sign artists. Okay. Before they're even focusing on music and marketing and music videos and live shows, before they do any of that, they're going to be looking at the actual merchandise and coming up with products that people want to buy. Okay, Chance the Rapper is one of my favorite artists who has done this successfully and did this in the beginning of his career. He was moving limited edition, shirts, hats. Of course, the hats, we all know about that. But he was doing it so successfully to not only get the brand out with what he was, trying to do and the exposure, but people just liked what he was making. And so I don't want to discount that. Right? Don't feel like you just have to slap your, record label name or your music business name on a shirt and be like, why isn't it selling? Really try to come up with something that is unique, that is creative, that represents you and the brand. And sometimes you can just have cool slogans, right? Cool phrases, cool imagery. And so you can start moving this stuff. And then obviously, if you can do it in association with your artists, even better. And what I would say with kind of getting, your feet wet with merchandise is don't feel like you need to go and invest thousands and thousands of dollars into actually purchasing merch, because remember, you got to have inventory, right? So if you're going to go, you don't know how many extra smalls you're going to need or extra larges or what sizes. And that can be kind of a struggle for someone investing in the merch because you don't know until you know. So a soft way to kind of enter the merch market is to consider going through one of these platforms like Threadless. This is one that I have personally used, but you use these platforms that do DIY, you just upload pictures, you upload your designs. They will do all of the order fulfillment. You can pick all the different merch items that you want to sell. Now, the downside is, of course, they're going to take a lot more of the cash. So that's basically what you need to contend with. You go, well, if I'm going to get the help and they're going to do all the order fulfillment, well, this will give you the ability to see if there is market interest. Are people going to actually buy the product? And if you start seeing that people are buying this particular shirt that you have, cool, take it off there. You're going to go and buy 100 of those shirts. You're going to do a limited edition run. And now you're going to be able to flip it and make a lot more money. So I would say never discount the power of having a merch line. Maybe that has nothing to do with the label or even the artists. But obviously, at the point that you can actually include it, have it connected with what you're doing, beautiful. But this is a very powerful way to make some serious cash if you are a record label or music business. All right, last but not least, when it comes to one of my favorite ways on how to make some serious cash as a record label, as a music business, people discount how valuable music catalogs are. And I'm going to talk about it because as a real entertainment attorney, I do these deals. So I know how much money is going on and being exchanged. So what I'm talking about when we're discussing music catalogs is the actual masters, right? So who owns the music? And as the record label, 99% of your deals will be that whatever music you are signing, you own in exchange for helping the artist, right? And so you'll kind of confer benefits and they'll be all in your contract. But in any case, what you do is as you start to build your music catalog, you can then later flip and sell it. Okay. Now, this might be something that you do in a few years. It could be something that you do 10 years down the road. But what I'm finding is that depending on the territory that we're in, these music catalogs are becoming more and more valuable. And, I had kind of this no-name artist, right? This person has built some social media following, has had some songs that have done well organically, but otherwise, if I told you this person's name, you wouldn't know who it was. But one of our students did a deal and was able to sell that catalog for $500,000. Okay. So the kinds of money that go into this are pretty crazy. And the reason is because music catalogs are more stable than gold and oil, right? So the value of these things go up and down, up and down. Music doesn't in most instances. And right now, music is valued very, very high. So I would just say, if you're the kind of record label owner or music business owner that maybe signed some artists and maybe the artist stopped doing their thing, right? Decided to kind of have a career change or otherwise haven't really pursued their career very well, don't feel too bad about it. Just understand that while it's kind of a loss in the short term, right? They're not doing anything, they're not touring, they're not helping sell merch. It's actually okay. Because at the end of the day, so long as you had that proper record label agreement or artist agreement, you should own the music, and building your music catalog as a record label is one of the most valuable things that you will do. And that's why it's definitely at the top of the list for me when it comes to how do we make money and how do we get to that 5 to 6 figure range annually as a record label, as a music business. All right, so we've talked a lot. We have talked a lot about all the different ways that you can, make some serious cash as a record label, as a music business. And you can get all this information and more in my online course, which is How to Build a Record Label. And it's my step-by-step guide on how to build your label in 60 days. Okay? In 60 days, you will have a fully operational label. And my course, it's coming fully loaded. I'm giving you contract templates, and it's so that you can actually keep yourself and your business legally protected. And also through the process, I give you one-on-one direct support, and you'll have access to my exclusive community. And what I'm doing for a limited time, because up till now, I have not offered this publicly. I am today. But we're doing a limited time offer where you can get started for as little as $250, and then we can get you on a payment plan. I don't normally do payment plans, but for just a select group that I am finishing for this particular group of students that I'm working with, it will be available for you. And you might be thinking, sounds great, but I can't afford any extra expenses. And what I kind of say as I'm talking about this with students is I'm like, you don't want to be like the 90% of artists and record labels and music entrepreneurs that fail. You can't afford not to. And so I have students who really show me how committed they are. And it's really amazing because they'll borrow money if they need to, they will get a loan, right? They will get business credit. And so I think, it's very telling for the people who are willing to really invest in themselves and who are going to take action and actually do it. And in fact, I think even on this live stream, one of my students was here, and it's really amazing to see kind of what people are doing. So I'll be sure to add the link down below. This is a limited time offer. So if you want to join this group, we have a few more openings, and I would love to have you. So be sure to check that link out down below. All right, here we go. So going back real quick. Hey, I appreciate that. I'm gonna go get my IV tomorrow. I feel good about it. I feel like we need to do it. It's that time. Hey, shout out and love. Okay, so I think we're gonna watch one more video together. I will be in the chat. We'll be doing all the chitty. Sorry, I just muted myself. Over the weekend, I'm always going to be on socials, so come say hi on Top Music Attorney. I'm also on Miss Crystle. Do all the things. And then if you're watching elsewhere, as always, be sure to come over to Top Music Attorney on YouTube. I love your faces. Let's run the video. I think tonight we're going to do Blinding Lights, but you know what? I think I want Middle of the Night. So Middle of the Night was the last cover song that we released. It's been a minute since I have watched that. So let's do that one together. I love you guys so much. I'll be in the chat, and have a wonderful rest of your weekend. We'll talk soon.
I summoned you, please come to me. Don't bury thoughts that you really want. I fill you up, drink from my cup. Within me lies what you really want. Come, lay me down, 'cause you know this, 'cause you know this song. In the middle of the night, in the middle of the night, just call my name, I'm yours to take. In the middle of the night, in the middle of the night, I'm wide awake, I crave your taste all night long. Till morning comes, I'm getting what is mine, you gon' get yours, oh no. In the middle of the night, in the middle of the night, oh no. These burning flames, these crashing waves wash over me like a hurricane. I captivate, you're hypnotized, feel bad.